Hello everyone! Welcome to this episode of Get Real with Real Estate. I am Melissa Steele, as you know, real estate agent extraordinaire, and I'm outside in our wonderful backyard space, excited to connect with you guys today on the topic at hand, which is one that John and I are honestly struggling with because there are two people in our life right now who have recently purchased what appears to us money pit property, but we've really been struggling and honestly would really appreciate any feedback that you guys have from a buyer or seller perspective and from our agency partners, because in both of these situations it was totally out of our control, aka we were not involved in the transaction. For clients that do hire us, we have no problem sharing with them when we feel as though a home is a money pit. I feel like it's my personal responsibility as a badass real estate agent to, when my client is looking at me for guidance on a property, it's absolutely my responsibility to be like, I wouldn't make an offer on this one if I were you because it seems to be a money pit to me. But how do you approach that on a transaction that is not yours, where you as a real estate agent are not representing that individual as a client? So I have two different examples, and I'm going to share both of them with you today because I actually would legitimately love your feedback and your suggestions on whether or not we should say something, how we should say something, and what it would look like. First situation actually was a really close friend of ours. So those of you who don't know, John and I can do business countrywide, which is super fun and exciting. We have transactions right now in Arizona, New York, New Jersey. And for example, I'm helping my sister and brother-in-law right now buy in New Jersey, which is amazing. And we have two really best friends that also live in New Jersey who purchased a home about a year ago. And these particular friends we had been working with from the very first day. So like really helping to guide them through lending, to helping them guide through the home buying process, all of the kind of navigating through all of the learning that comes along with buying a home. And we got to the point where we were getting really close to connecting them with a local agent, which is really how we partner and then are able to help our clients through the transaction. We were getting to the point where we're interviewing agents locally, really finding somebody who would be great for what they ideally wanted out of their real estate goals. And on a Saturday morning where I was supposed to connect with the client to touch base on like what agents they wanted to interview, I got a text out of the blue that says, hey, we got an offer accepted last night. Who would you recommend as my home inspector? So in agent speak, for those of you agents who may be watching, and for those of you clients who don't realize, what that means for me as an agent is, long story short, it seems to me as though I'm cut totally out of the picture. It seems like they walked into a property, and from what they shared with me, they actually walked into an open house, were told by the listing agent within that home that if they didn't write an offer on that home before the end of the night that they'd probably miss out on it. They ended up going home, writing an offer. This is the part that kills me. They came in over asking price. It needed fixing. The listing agent represented them on their offer. Then they called me. So basically they called me 12 hours into this transaction asking me what comes next, because the listing agent was like, great, I have your offer, bye. Because the listing agent has fiduciary duty to her sellers, right? It's her job to get the highest and best offer for her sellers, which she did a fantastic job of. It is not her job to best represent my friends, aka the buyers. So my buyers had walked in off the street, were told that if they wanted to make an offer on that property that they had to do so right away, that they'd miss out. The listing agent told them what to come in at. They did all of these things. I want always what's best for my best friend. I love that friend beyond belief. What I really struggled with, and actually do not know if I handled the situation correctly, I said, amazing, unfortunately, I am totally out of the loop. I can't actually represent you as a buyer's agent in this situation because now the listing agent is representing both sides. I can be here to guide you, but the listing agent, I tried to call her as well, didn't want to talk to me because why would she? She was handling both sides of the transaction, both clients. Absolutely no reason to entertain me at all, which I totally understand. But from my perspective, what I really struggled with is that I think that agent totally misguided them. And I tried to tell my friend, but her perception of my advice, I think, was that it was coming from me versus having her best interest in mind. So I think she thought like, oh, Melissa's probably upset for not getting the deal. However, it has nothing to do with the deal. What I was upset about and what I warned her about was a few different things. She walked in off the street into an open house. The property had been listed for over 2 months. It was stale, which tells me there's something maybe wrong with it. It is probably overpriced. I looked up the history of that property. It had actually fallen out of escrow 3 separate times, which means that 3 buyers had likely gone through a home inspection, found something that they didn't like about the property, and backed out for some unknown reason. So not only was this property listed for 2 months, it had been backed out of multiple times. And additionally, I don't think that there was any urgency in making an offer, and I don't think that there were any other offers at play. I think that the listing agent, in doing her best job for her sellers, who she has a fiduciary duty to, literally she's doing her best job and she's doing a great job, she advised the buyers what to write their offer at, what to come in at, and they did it all. And what was so difficult for me to really swallow is that I saw my clients overpaying for a stale property, not having the negotiation tools to know and understand that they probably could have gotten multiple home inspections to review before prior to even making their offer. They probably had so much more room for negotiation in getting that home for less than what they paid for it because it had been listed so long, because multiple buyers had fallen out. Ultimately, the buyer on that property had all the leverage, and they gave it up completely in working with the listing agent. And so where I saw that they completely dropped the ball was in giving up any of their negotiation power. And then additionally, what was really hard is that throughout the transaction, when the listing agent was doing her best job in representing the sellers, I will be fully upfront that she didn't represent the buyers. Guess who they were calling to find out who to use for their home inspector, to talk about the things that had come up on their home inspection, a variety of different things. And what was so hard for me was, by not representing them, I couldn't offer my feedback and advice. I could give the best feedback and advice based on the limited knowledge that I had, but I felt like they had left tens of thousands of dollars on the table in terms of negotiation. The house itself is one that needs a lot of work. It's pretty funky. I think that they actually could have negotiated massive credits. The request for repair, honestly, the home inspection showed some pretty gnarly stuff, like asbestos in the floor tiling and a lot of repairs that are needed that they did not have a party to negotiate for them. So they ultimately moved into a house with a ton of repairs and no requests were handled. So that situation is such a clear indication for me about how much better my buyers, my really good friends, could have done in their home purchase. But what do I do? And I'm legitimately asking, what do I do? Because I had one opportunity where I could have potentially ruined my friendship with my friend by raining all over her parade, which was not my intention, but ultimately I felt like I wanted to educate her on the property that she was getting before it was too late, but didn't know if it was my place to because I wasn't her real estate agent. She didn't hire me in that expertise, and she also didn't ask, do you think I'm making a solid decision? If she had asked, I would have let her know, but unsolicited, I was torn. I ended up supporting her the best that I could, and now when I'm on FaceTime with her, I just offer her the best advice that I can for her remodel, knowing what I know. But I was really, really conflicted. And then most recently, John and I actually have a second situation of this happening really dramatically here in San Diego, where we have another close friend who bought, and she ended up using her mom's partner's realtor. So it was a familial choice, and that feels so fine for me. Ultimately, I can so respect the commitment, the fact that family works with that agent. Amazing, 1,000% support of that. And I've been really here as just a supportive friend for my friend, because I can always offer advice or feedback and not necessarily represent the transaction. But what's been really challenging for me is I didn't agree with any of the direction that the agent was giving this particular buyer. A very similar situation. It was an investor-owned property that had fallen out of escrow multiple times. It was a real tough sell for the investor. I actually know the investor. They do kind of shoddy work. So I was a little bit, like I had a red flag on the property itself. I would have gone in with like a fine-tooth comb and really looked for things. But what has been so crazy is that they moved into a flipped property. They came in non-contingent on that flipped property, which means that they gave up all of their inspections. They came in over asking price. I literally want to cry. They came in over asking price, non-contingent, on a property that had fallen out of escrow multiple times, and I can tell you for a fact that listing agent was blowing such a cloud of gray smoke up their ass when he was talking about the multiple offers that they had on the table. Because you and I both know, if a property is sitting and the demand is not there and it's fallen out of escrow 3 times and it's now sat for 2 more weeks and you're coming in with an offer that's over asking price and the agent's telling you, we have multiple offers, I would come in non-contingent, run for the hills. People, run for the hills. There is probably no other offers. Think about the leverage. Why would there be multiple offers? Where would all of the interest have come from in the last 2 weeks after it had fallen out for the 3rd time? I would have loved to represent my friend on that property, to not have come in contingent, to not have had them redo the sewer line for $10,000 right after moving in, to not have to be fixing things right and left on a flip. On a flipped property, where an investor paid for that purchase, you want me to tell you who should be paying for those remodeling fixes? The freaking investor who should have done it right in the first place. Not my friend. Not the client that I would have loved to represent. But that's what kills me inside, and I legitimately do not know. Should I have told her? Run for the hills out of this escrow, literally lose your $5,000 deposit because you're going to lose so much more than that in this money pit of a home that you've put in a non-contingent offer on? I don't know. As a real estate agent, it is so challenging to know what to do in a situation like this, because this is obviously the advice that our clients know us for, love us for, and pay us for. But when we're not working with a client, it is not my place, I feel to just give unsolicited feedback. But I would love to know your opinion. Would you appreciate that? Would you have valued that? Even though maybe it would have ruined the friendship in this moment, would you have appreciated it later when it became true and you were $50,000 into the home? I don't know. I would love to know. We've been torn. It's been really so terrible for us watching this friend rip out new finish after new finish on a flip, literally replacing the floors on a new flip. They've already had to replace the sewer line, do the landscaping, replace the light fixtures. I'm just this was a flip, people. You paid a premium price tag. You came in with no inspections. You paid over asking price. And now you're remodeling the flipped home? It blows my mind. It blows my mind. And I love people enough to want to, basically I love these people enough to, it has nothing to do with my commission. Oh my goodness. At this point, I almost would have given them that money to help just educate them. If I could have given the commission check in a form of an educational gift, pre-home purchase, I literally would have done that and not made a penny on these just to see them in better homes. So I don't know. I'm torn. This is a legitimate question. How do you tell someone that they're buying a bad property or a money pit when you aren't the agent? I mean, you maybe see this in your own friends group. Do you have a friend right now who's just being represented by the most bozo real estate agent on the planet who's buying the biggest money pit and you don't know what to do? Because I have been in that boat and I don't know what to do. And I sincerely hope that you guys have good advice and feedback, because the next time it happens where I see one of my friends buying a money pit, I want to be okay, I'm taking this leap and doing whatever it takes, or choosing a different approach. So I so appreciate your opinions and feedback, you guys. Thank you for watching this episode of Get Real with Real Estate. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.